Smokin Word. The Smokin Word. The Smokin Word. What up? What up? What up? The Smokin Word. The Smokin Word. What up? Welcome back. Episode 4 of the Smokin Word podcast. And first of all, I want to say thanks to everybody who's been following us on YouTube and SoundCloud. Keep pushing it. We need to get a lot of hits. Like it. And salute to everybody out there. And we're back with a special guest today. We got a very, very special guest today. We actually were waiting for this day. When we found out we were going to play with this guy, we said, all right, we got to get him on. Ladies and gentlemen, straight out of Queens.
Queens, baby.
Hardcore bass extraordinaire.
Oh, shit.
Craig Ahead, what's up?
What's up? What's up, Hoya?
Chilling. Everybody.
What's up, Freddie?
Yo, what up?
Everybody.
Jay on the wheels of steel.
Yeah, exactly. So everybody, you know.
Thank you for having me.
No, trust me. Thank you.
It's going to be like that,
huh? Listen, we did too many years of talking shit, which we should have recorded it.
Undocumented, safer, though.
Some of them. But whatever. We over here. We got Freddy. Fred is back on the mic. We got Jay behind the microphone knobs again. And we got Craig Ahead with us. So
we're in France today.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We're in France. I don't even know what the name of this fucking festival is.
Motor something.
Yeah, Motor
Metal. Mad metalheads over here today. Who's playing today? Celtic Frost guy.
We just arrived. We've been on the road for 50 hours.
I don't know, but watch out for that poison oak. I see leaves at 3, let it be. There's poison oak everywhere. Get that shit on your ankle, you'll be fucked up bad.
As a matter of fact,
Country Boy.
As a matter of fact, hold on.
We found Country Boy.
Yo, we were listening to, and right here, we threw on the Rest in Pieces record.
Oh, yeah.
The second one.
Oh, that one.
No, I was telling everybody, this is something that popped in my head.
You love that shit.
Well, yeah, that was my shit. And I was telling these guys, I remember when you guys were, let's talk about the Chick House. Because the Chick House.
Right into it.
I remember hanging out there. Well, to let people know what the Chick House was.
Chick House was an apartment. I think I was like 17. It was like right around the time that I joined. I was 18. Joined Agnostic Front, and then we had a little hiatus from playing for a little while. And Armand, myself, and John, Devil Dog, we got an apartment in Jackson Heights over by the Boulevard Building, 77th Street. So Hoya and a select group of young individuals would come over regularly.
House guests. House guests. Uninvited house guests.
Uninvited house guests that would just drop some shit on us that you would.
You can speak of what happened then, because
I don't know.
No, yeah, of course. But anyway, it was
these guys would knock on my door, wide-eyed and sweaty, early in the morning, late at night, whatever. Hide this. And you'd be like. Instead of like, don't look in it, they'd be like, look what's in there. I'd be like, yo, what are you, crazy? And hide some shit, hang around.
That's what I loved about that spot. We had a spot.
Hide out for 6 or 8 hours.
Yeah, it was a good hangout spot.
Pour some bleach in the hallway so the dogs don't smell.
Queens. But I remember hearing the demos for that second Rest in Peace.
Great till the vocals went down.
Yeah.
Sorry, friend.
Yeah, that was.
Hey, if he was here, if he was here right now instead of running around being a big shot,
trying to act like he got a show to play.
Yeah.
But yeah, Purple Camel, what up? Yo, but I was just telling these dudes too what I remember. There was a Super Bowl you guys played. You did like 2 or 3 songs and you played that shit and you guys killed everybody.
Yeah, what was that other show?
One of those Super Bowls.
What was that show?
Jammins
with the glass in the front.
42nd Street.
That was a good show.
Yeah, it was very good.
That was like you and Ed.
Yeah, Double O, rest in peace.
Rest in peace, my friend.
But yeah, we were listening to that shit today, and it's a dope record. It was just a little too clean.
A little too clean.
Had to be too. What else, nigga?
It's a little fantasy.
What else is going on? How long you out here for?
Go home on Mondays. It was altogether 14 days, I think 10 shows. And we got today, then we got another show, and then we end up in Belgium at Fest, and then we go home. And then I got like some shit on the weekend, but I want a little downtime, relax. I like the summer. I like being home in the summer, even though that's not reality if you're a musician. Obviously, you guys got to tell you that.
We've been out here a million times this,
not your first
year.
rodeo.
And you guys, we've crossed paths already a few times this summer.
A couple times. Couple of interesting.
Yep. Yeah.
Paths.
It's a couple of interesting paths.
Yeah. So did you guys figure out which Rest in Pieces songs you're gonna do in the next B&B?
Well, here's the thing. Like,
Oh, you heard it here first. You heard it. If something pops off.
Straight ahead, too?
Straight ahead. Double dipping.
Straight ahead.
Dip that shit.
That's illegal. I told him that's illegal in
Corner
public.
this nigga.
Yo, straight ahead talk. I mean, rest in pieces, talk to Armand. I would do that.
Really? We've been saying that.
We need a drummer, but I got the drummer.
But we got.
Well, don't worry about drummer.
How many good drummers we know?
Red is the guy. Look at the way he's looking at me.
Freckles.
I feel like I got like a rope around my neck and I got to say the right thing.
It's funny because certain people came up to me at the last Black and Blue Bowl and they were like, I got a great idea. Rest in pieces. And I was like, dude, we've been working on that
for like 7 years.
Right? I've been fucking giving you.
It might have even been Civ. Hey, I love you, Civ, man. You're a good guy.
Yeah,
but
Civ.
He was like, I got a great idea for the next bowl. And I'm like, dude, we've been at it forever. We've been on tour with these cats. We've been doing Sick with all Madball tours. And
Civ was trying to sell me on the Rest in Pieces idea. And I looked at him and I go, yo, Civ. I go, if you don't remember, I'm the one that worked on you 2 years ago on getting so-and-so on the Black and Blue Bowl. So I said, I was undercover with you, so don't play that shit with me. Talk to me straight. He's like, oh, yeah, that's right, I forgot. And then he starts talking, so why don't you play? But he came at me with the pitch, you know what I mean? Like, acting like I wasn't on the inside of the...
Yeah.
Because we were double-teamed on somebody to get him on the bill a couple years before that. Sent us both in, double-pronged attack.
Right.
And they wound up playing.
Yeah.
Well, you never know. We got to what? You got straight ahead you could do?
Yeah, but how you going to do that, though?
We make it happen, dude.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. You could do a 2-in-1-er.
We facilitate all that.
On set, don't even get off the fucking stage.
I don't know. I think
Pat, left and right.
Back like that.
Straight ahead.
It can be spread.
Straight ahead. I don't think straight ahead could recreate what we used to create.
Never know. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
Talking. Selling me out a little bit
here. But listen, no, it's definitely.
That's a corner.
Well,
that's illegal.
I vote for Rest in Pieces to do it, so that's just me. You know that.
Yeah, I know you're into that.
We got to do that. I think it's time.
That's like some.
You know what I
Corona
was thinking?
style, late '80s, late '80s.
I was thinking. I mean, I know anyone that's like from our scene knows obviously people's resume, but just for people that might be checking in for the first time ever, some of these younger cats just getting into our culture, the whole hardcore culture. You know what I mean? The whole New York hardcore faction. Give us a little background, man. I mean, when did you get your start? Like, what were your bands like? Because I'm impressed by it. I know you since I'm a kid myself. We grew up together. I consider you family.
Absolutely.
But in the AF days, goes without saying. But like, give people out there, especially these younger kids that don't know what time it is, give them a little background.
I started playing bass probably when I was a kid, like 11 years old, maybe like 1981 or something like that. Played my first show probably in '82, little like thing or whatever, little like metal and punk kind of band. And
what was the name of the band? We want to know the name of the first.
The band it wasn't my band, it was another dude's band. He called it Axe Attack.
Yo, shit, watch out.
Actually, that's news to my ears.
Yeah,
I never heard of that.
Axe Attack.
I was young. I was like in junior high school.
That's amazing.
And we asked Armand to play guitar for the show because one of our guitar players quit. And he said, nah, I don't want to do it because I don't want my first show to be in a church. That's hypocritical. so we got Victor that played guitar in Reagan Youth to play. So and we did like
and that was Axe Attack.
Yeah, and we did like metal and punk songs. We did like an Exploited song, a Motorhead song. It was something like that,
And the Smegma shit, that was with you,
now,
right?
after that was Smegma,
all right, go.
And that was like me and Rob, who played in Straight Ahead, and Richie, who played bass for Sick of It All.
Wow.
We had a band, but we never had like a good drummer, so we would jam, write songs, mess around, but we never had a serious drummer, so we never played out.
Right.
But it was like a basement band, you know what I mean? And like mess around at a party and play a couple songs when the drummer was there and try to teach him this stuff. Then started playing with...
But who was the Smegma?
Rob from...
But wasn't Mike from Raw Deal in Smegma?
No, that was...
He wasn't?
Maybe after I stopped playing to play with Tommy and Gordon, that Mayhem band. When I started doing
that was the next one, Mayhem. All right.
Then Mike jumped in to take my place in Smegma, but it never really got off the ground, Good songs and fun stuff.
Amazing name, Smegma.
Yeah. Corona band.
By the way, Smegma is this thing you get on your dick when you put it in bad places.
Straight up Corona band. I used to meet Das, Rob, on the 103rd Corona Plaza station. Walk to his house and we jam in the basement.
You want to hear a funny quick story about Rob? So basically Craig and Rob, all those guys grew up with my older brother.
And that's how we all knew Hoya when he was a little kid wearing his red boots.
Yeah, my big brother's the guy who got me into hardcore and all that. And he was very good friends.
I'm not the only one whose big brother got him into hardcore.
and
real quick,
Hoya's big brother, he's big too.
Big, yo.
He's big. He's a big
what up, Dave? But the funny thing was, they were at that time, everything was still the denim and leather, metalhead, Venom, that shit. And I remember me and my boys throwing rocks at Das while he was waiting on the bus stop.
That's awesome.
Yo, he was waiting at the bus stop, and we used to see this nigga with his hair permed, and I know that was my brother's boy, but we said, fuck, let's throw rocks at him. We used to throw rocks at him.
Yeah, that's
but
cool.
Anyway, whatever.
That's a great story, though.
But,
total evil.
Yo, but all right, that was, so where was that? So then that was...
So that was like, I was messing around with that, and then I hooked up with Tommy Carroll at CB's. That was probably like 1984. That was when I was going to shows. Like, at 84, I started going to CB's every week. You know what I mean? Like, I was constantly
religiously,
there.
That was your thing.
Before 84, I was listening to stuff, and I was a little kid. I didn't really have anyone to go with, so I was kind of just listening to stuff on my own, playing the bass at home, and, you know, checking out whatever I could. My brother was a roadie for that band Anthrax when I was a little kid. So, like, I would go to, like, see them rehearse, and I'd go to see Metallica rehearse before they had their album out. So I'd go to the music building in Jamaica, Queens, and those dudes, when they had
history for you kids.
Yeah, when they had Dave Mustaine in the band, I would go to their rehearsals before their album was recorded and, like, watch them play. And, like, you know, like, Cliff would, like, let me play his bass and teach me stuff on the bass. And, like, you know, those dudes were, like, they were nice guys.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Did you ever run into them later? And they didn't remember that shit.
That was so long ago.
Yeah.
We did a tour with them in Australia. It was like a big festival tour. I didn't even talk to them.
Yeah, that was what
Yeah, I didn't even talk to them because it was like you're talking about 1982. You know what I mean? Like I'm
totally out of context.
Guys, I'm gonna bust out like, hey, 35
on that
years
tour
ago
when we would be on the air.
I was that little kid. Like nobody's gonna remember that.
Yo, people hated us on those airplane rides. You remember in Australia? We took that shit over.
Pack of mandrills.
Those side waves were great though.
Yeah,
right?
amazing.
In Australia, I mean, those shows were all sold out. Great shows for everybody. Great time.
Yeah. We were like a pack of baboons. They throw us in a plane, we go nuts.
So then I remember a homegirl from Garbage. She walking in the plane, and the other dude, everybody was like, "There's whatever his name is." I guess he recorded Nirvana or whatever.
Okay.
But I just remember her walking through like she was gonna vomit, and the other dude looked like the other dude was shook. They were disgusted. It was amazing.
What's his name was cool.
We're perfect.
No,
gentlemen. I don't get it.
I'm saying that dude that used to play in Guns N' Roses, the bass player. Good guy.
He was cool.
He's a cool guy.
Yeah,
Rocker, that's why.
Yeah, we kicked it in the bathroom with that dude. It was like some crazy shit. Yeah, definitely.
So where'd you go from there? Mayhem.
So Mayhem started playing shows. We played like a matinee with the Psychos. We played like AOD and AF. We did play in like the tri-state area. We do shows 84, 85. And then we formed Straight Ahead because we got Tommy as a front man and we got Rob in the band, you know, the guy that got hit with the rocks. And Armand played drums. You know, he was a guitar player and he was like, you know, one day outside of CB's, I'm like, yo, Tommy's going to sing. We're going to form something else. And I was like, we need a drummer. He's like, I'll try. I was like, all right. Because, you know, Armand, one of them dudes that could pick things up quick.
Yeah.
So we got him, and then we, like 2 weeks after he started playing drums, 3 weeks later, we played our first matinee at CB's. I think it was with like the Mob or something.
All right. What was the first time you ever played CB's? First time you ever played CB's? Which band? With Mayhem?
It was Mayhem. It was like 84. I don't remember the exact date, but it was like maybe the summer of 84 or something like that. Somewhere around there. I can't remember the exact date.
And then after Mayhem is Straight Ahead.
After Mayhem was Straight Ahead. And then when Straight Ahead was going on, I started playing in Youth of Today. And I played on that Break Down the Walls record.
I remember when you were
only the Break Down the Walls record. That
was the only one I played on.
Only their most classic. That was the one I played on. Record.
And then I stopped doing that to reform Straight Ahead, and we only got back together for a couple weeks, and it broke up because we had a fight. You know, we'd always argue, and we were boys, but we'd argue. You know, and then it was the first time I wasn't in a band, right? So I had no band, and I was like, "Damn, I'm not in a band." So I was hanging out with like Todd Youth one night, like in the park on Avenue A, and he's like, "Yo, you know, why don't you join Murphy's Law? We need somebody. Russ is gonna leave, or whatever. Maybe Bob was playing bass. I don't remember who it was, but so he goes, "Yo, come try out for Murphy's Law." So I went down to the rehearsal and tried out, and it was myself and Chuck Val. The late, great Chuck Val.
Yeah.
So I went down. Yep, absolutely. Great man. So we both tried out. And we both, you know, he was a good player, I'm a good player. We both killed it. And at the end, everyone's hanging out. And Chuck smoked a joint with him, but I didn't smoke at the time. So
Yeah, because you don't do those things.
That was the
You never did that.
Right.
So I go home, right? I go home and I carry my bass in a cardboard box because I didn't have a case. So I had like a cardboard box. I would carry it on like in my arm in the train. So I get home and I'm walking up the stairs to the apartment and my mother comes out the door and she goes, "Hey, Craig, Vinny Stigma's on the phone for you." And I was like, all right. And I knew Vinny, but he never called me before. He had my number, but like I'd see him at shows and we'd hang out at shows and I hung out with him, you know.
It's crazy. He knows how to use a telephone, right?
Stop. Just stop.
Stiggy!
Yeah,
What up?
all right.
Yeah.
What up? So I get on the phone. I'm like, "Yo, Vinny, what's up?" He's like, "Listen, kid, I talked to Jimmy. They're taking the other guy, and you're in my band now." And he's like, I told you, because he used to chase me around at CB's. He goes, "I like you. You're a good kid. You jump high. You're gonna be in my band one day." And I'd be like, "Yeah, okay." And I thought he was fucking with me, and he'd yell like skinhead and stomp his boot and get me scared.
Yeah.
So he goes, "I told you you'd be in my band one day. Didn't I tell you that? And today's the day." And I was like, "Thank you, awesome." I want to say this. I say this all the time, but I was picked to play an agnostic front. But the reason I wasn't in Murphy's Law is because the better man won. Chuck Val, God rest his soul, great man, old school BM.
Yeah. And then
that's when
that's why life ended.
Oh yeah.
It started, ended, everything.
Ruined me, made me, confused me, all of that.
Damaged you.
Yeah.
The agnostic front, fucking Black Cloud.
That's
You know what the crazy
school
thing
of
is?
hard
Like I
knocks.
look right here at this man right here, Frederick, and he comes from that too, and it's just so crazy.
Isn't it?
Broken toys.
Isn't it?
Broken
I'm smiling now,
toys.
but I could almost cry.
Yeah,
It's like half joy and half like confusion.
How did we make it?
I don't know.
It's like we both did a crazy stint in some crazy ass prison.
It's like going.
And we're like,
it's like
yo,
going.
we made it, man. We're
It's
here,
like
brother.
It's like getting dropped into Cambodia during Vietnam on like 8 hits of acid. You're just like, what the fuck was that about? That was, so I played in AF for a long time, and then AF,
Amazing.
AF stopped playing for like about a year and a half, and I played with Rest in Pieces, and that's around the time of Schick House when you were always coming over with Ed and doing the things you did, which was just wild.
We had a good
Wild shit.
It was a crazy time in our life.
How many years were you in AF? I forget.
6 about?
Wow.
From like 87 to like 90, just about right when 93 started.
I remember. I mean, I was going on tours a lot
Yeah,
around
a lot.
that time when you were in the band.
Yep.
That lineup. I was there
5.5, 6 years maybe.
And you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy is how Queens was deep in New York hardcore.
Fuck yeah.
Lower East Side, of course, it's a given.
That's where
That's
it went.
the Mecca.
But Queens,
Yo,
Queens was hard.
Queens is deep.
A lot of the creation came out of Queens.
A lot of
Look what you
players
got
came
coming out of Queens. A lot of great bands.
Yeah,
you know
no,
what I mean?
definitely. I was thinking about it the other day. There some bands I liked and some I didn't. But there's these old school bands that came out like Crowd.
Raw Deal.
Raw Deal was one of my favorites. My favorite band was Raw Deal.
How much you love them.
It's a Raw Deal.
Crowd was a great band.
For me, I didn't like that shit.
All right, I like it.
But I give them
You
props
respect
because
it,
they were
yeah, of
around,
course.
and from what I always ask questions to the older dudes, and I used to ask them who was the band back then that they were thinking was gonna pop off, and they told me Crowd.
Yeah.
So I don't know because that was way before me. I didn't go. My first show was in 1988.
Okay.
So I don't. It's a while from now, but when I hear old school, I think early 80s.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because to me, it's like I came after the fact.
All that stuff is great, man. New York hardcore had a lot going on. You know what I mean? It's a deep scene, and people almost can't relate to it because it's like so grimy and grinding. People don't really get it. You know what I mean? There was things going off and going on that it's hard to describe now to somebody that wasn't around.
And they
then.
don't realize the diversity that's there, and like even the background
Absolutely.
of like where everything came from, like
People
so many
might see
different
it,
branches.
yeah. People
like,
see it and they think, oh, that's just some grimy shit, or
Tough
that's just some
stuff,
tough
whatever.
stuff.
Yeah,
People don't realize that that's real street punk rock, hardcore, some subculture.
Exactly.
A real youth movement went on.
Right.
People do not understand that. That was the last great youth movement in America, I think.
Yeah.
Right now,
I back you on that.
right now, God tells you, all right, I'm going to kill you, and you're going to come back as one bass player. Any bass player in the world. Who is he?
Craig ahead.
You
Come on,
narcissistic.
nigga. Not seriously. Besides me, who are you gonna come back as?
I mean, I don't want to go. Is what I mean. It ain't even about.
Yo, come on.
I ain't nothing. I just don't want to go.
Yo, you
don't
gone.
take me.
You
say
gone.
nothing, man.
You gone. That's how he's getting it down. That's it.
James Jamerson,
Hardest.
hardest.
We
ever.
know he's the hardest.
Though, is it?
No,
yeah,
rough life.
When
Rough
did he
life.
pass? That's
No,
a rough
he
life.
Drank himself
He
down.
drank himself.
So when would you say? 60s?
No, he
died
did
in the
it
70s,
after
right?
the he did
That's
he,
not
later,
such a short
later.
life, yeah.
he did the
80s
what's going
maybe.
some of the last shit he did was the what's going on shit with Marvin Gaye.
Most
So,
definitely an interesting life.
Late
Oh,
70s.
Great
Forget
player.
it.
Great player.
Great player. Yeah.
That's dude's an animal.
Yeah. Great.
That Motown
Yo, I tell you what, Jamerson, I love Geezer Butler too, though.
hardest.
Geezer Butler's the rock guy.
All right.
John Entwistle, you can't play with John
Entwistle, who the hell is
The
that?
guy from The Who.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
that's like some Bayside shit, nigga. That was in the
Yeah.
Corona. Corona just got,
bad.
we had fucking Iron Maiden. There was some fucking hardcore shit going on and hip hop and Spanish music.
I'll tell you what, John Entwistle's bad. The Ox, that dude got down.
The Who's bad.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, it's a bad band. So when sick of it all, you know,
All right, so
AF 6
So
years
AF,
go by.
yeah, there's a little break in the middle. They played in Rest in Pieces. Then AF started playing again. AF's going on. So AF breaks up
I remember that.
at like the beginning of '93.
Yep.
And we won't even get into that because
Yep.
that shit, people won't believe these stories, Freddie.
No, I know.
All this type of shit that
It's
we're
funny because
skipping
that
over,
was the time
nobody
when
would
we
believe.
started. Madball started going.
Yeah.
Because like AF was done. So
Hold
then,
on,
like,
hold
we
on.
inherited-
Hold up. I didn't mention that I was in Madball.
Whoa, hey, whoa.
You definitely.
Don't-
You were there briefly, right?
Let me explain. No, he pretended because he
Yeah, well, we're
Threw
trying
me
to
out of
definitely
the-
on the back of
You
Ball of Destruction. That's
threw me
Craig.
out
That's
of the
Craig.
band. Yo,
Mark
Madball.
Ryan, Craig.
Oh,
only
shit.
band I ever got booted from in my life was Madball.
Yo, shit.
no.
That's hard.
So
That's kinda hard.
they were gonna record. And they were
I
like,
threw you out.
I think Vinny did. They were like, Roger did. They were like, we're gonna do this band and we're gonna record. Bring your bass down to Don Fury's. You're gonna play bass. I was like, all right. So I come down. I'm like at 45 minutes, an hour late, right? And they're like, yo, what the fuck? What took you so long? I'm like, yeah. They're like, you're fired. Roger's gonna play bass. So I got fired right there on the spot. I was like, oh shit! But they used my old red bass. Red was on the.
Red was on the first
So it's,
Madball.
good luck, you know
Yeah,
what
it
I
is
mean?
good
That's
luck.
why
It
you're
was
still
a
going
good luck.
today. Part of it anyway.
Whatever.
So
Red was a good luck
I
show.
was like, yo, you're gonna do me like that? That's dirty. And I think like all you guys were like, no, I came down with Mark Ryan from Super Touch. So they're like, yo, you and Mark Ryan sing backup. So I was like, all right, cool. Just sing backups with Mark Ryan. All right, cool.
Get
so
on
me and
there.
Mark Ryan sang the backups. and then AF broke up. And sick of it all, we're like, hey, that's the last AF tour. Richie's going to quit. Just do this European tour with us. Join the band. They said, well, I don't want to join. I'm going to do this tour, and I'm going to become a chef. I had this fantasy that I was going to be a chef. And I had this girl I was dating. I thought that was something. And I went on that Sick of It All tour. It was like I was on the road for 13 weeks straight with one day off in between the two tours.
Oh, my God.
And I did the Sick of It All tour, and then within 2 weeks, I was like, I'm staying in the band. Fuck being a chef.
Yeah.
And then that girl went by the wayside. You know how that shit goes. And that was the end of that. And hardcore just, never it was a fake. It was a little fantasy I played with that never really went anywhere. And I played in Sick of It All ever since.
And here you are.
I had that little Creep Division side band where I sang for a minute. Play with John and Mackie doing the Cro-Mags thing when I can.
You still do?
I stopped for a while, but I just recently played 2 shows, and I'll play with them when I can. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's fun. I enjoy it a lot.
Hell yeah.
It's great stuff. I grew up listening to that stuff, and I love it. You know what I mean?
What up, Mackie?
What up, Mac? Much love. What up, John? Hey, how many years you have in Sick of It All now?
22 or 23.
Wow, that's amazing.
Long time.
That whole resume that you
look good for being 49.
46.
Holla at your boy, man.
30.
I mean, it's a crazy resume. I think you have one of the most impressive, not just saying this because you're a dear friend, but you have one of the most impressive resumes coming out of, the New York scene.
Too dumb to leave.
All those bands. I mean, you've played in some of the most
not that
classic
smart.
bands, man. And and then now what you're doing with Sick of It All, that's, shit, man. You're a legendary cat.
Thank you. That's coming from my friend who, he was right next to me most of the whole time.
Let me ask you this. Do you know how many records you recorded on?
I don't know, but I met this cat when he was 7 years old. And he just got off the stage singing with AF at CB's, and I was like, yo, that was badass.
I used to change his diapers. I used to change his diapers, get a fucking milk.
I was like, yo, you're bad. And Roger's like, here's my brother Freddy. I was like, that shit was awesome. And he's like, I like your band too. I was like, oh shit.
I love it when we meet people that he's older than they claim they took care of him when he was little.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You always run into those weird people. I babysit. I watched you
he
for
took
like
care of
20
himself.
minutes, but no, there were people out there that looked out here and there. Of course, I was a kid hanging out with all these animals. There was always someone that there were always like those motherly figures.
Yeah, they were all animals.
You know what I mean? There were always like those motherly figures that were around and like looked out and like you know.
There was a lot of people.
But like some people are just like come up and straight up like make shit up. You know what I mean? Like I was there and I did this and that. I'm like I don't remember you. You know like. But you know how this, you know how it is in this world.
And let me ask you this, since you were in Youth of Today, like we said before,
okay,
were you straight edge when you joined Agnostic Front?
No.
I know you. Eventually, I know you weren't. I know that, but were you at first?
No, you know what it was? When I was young, I used to get high a lot and drink up until I was about 15, and then from like 16 to like my mid-20s, I kind of backed off a lot on that. I would occasionally have a drink or a smoke. I would smoke a spliff with Vinny once in a while.
I never took you as like a heavy drink or anything. Even those years with AF, like
I was
never
a puffer back in the day, but that was during the AF years. I was mellow with all that shit.
Yeah.
It was before that, like 85. I used to 85 to like 81 when I was like a little kid, kind of.
Right.
81 to 85, I would smoke weed all the time and drink.
Yeah. Then
from like 85 to like I don't know, like 94, I probably chilled out a lot. I mean, I would do a little here and there, but I was pretty mellow. And then from like 25 to like 30.
Had another episode.
I had a bad episode, you know what I mean? But but I tell you what, I haven't had a drink or anything in 13 years. Not enough.
Good for you,
13
man.
years of complete sobriety. Good for you. And it's better for me because I get more done. You know what I mean? Like all the stuff I would like when I don't do that, I get stuff taken care of.
Wow. No, you definitely have a clearer head, clearer mind.
And for me, if I'm going to be...
I'm not saying you in particular. I'm saying people in general.
Yeah, I like an asshole when I'm getting drunk.
I drink a lot less than I used to, but like I've tapered it down, but I still get my drink.
Oh yeah, we don't do it. Nobody drinks.
Yeah, I know.
I got a lot.
I know. Anyway.
But yeah.
Next.
But to be honest with you, I kind of liked you more when you were smoking.
Yeah, I know. We used to puff like crazy, huh?
Yeah,
I'd meet you with CBs. I wouldn't even remember anything.
Amazing.
Just sit in the back and just.
It was amazing, wasn't
it? Total roster.
Wasn't life simpler then? We were already older. We weren't even just little. We were little, but it seemed simpler.
It was like being in a dream for a whole day.
And what time you guys going on? Right now it's 9:45.
We're going to 10:20. I got about 10 minutes. This isn't enough. This isn't enough.
Yeah, I know.
There'll be a part 2. I mean, this is a new thing. Hoya's going to be building it up. We didn't get into anything
too crazy.
Yeah, you know what it was? We ended up driving. We've been driving since last night.
Yeah.
We were planning to come here earlier, and we were hoping to get Armine on here too, but he's too busy meditating or doing whatever.
Big shot.
Yeah, he's setting up the drums and shit. But we wanted to get you on no matter what.
We got to get a chapter. We'll get a chapter 2. We'll get another episode with you guys.
AF stories. Good AF stories.
Oh my God.
Good AF stories. A lot of them.
Yeah. Stigma is he's by himself. You could go on him for days.
Yeah, for days. I tell you what though, when I went the first time I ever played CB's, Vinny came to see my band play, that Mayhem band.
Yeah.
Danced the whole show.
Wow.
Piled up with the crowd and sang along. And after the show, I was like, how did you know the words? He's like, I bought your demo like 2 weeks ago because we'd sell the demo outside the show. So he bought the demo, listened to it, knew the words, and sang along to the very first show we ever played.
That's amazing.
Yeah. That was the shit I always said about.
Treated me like gold.
Yeah, that's
From the minute I met him, I was a little kid. I was a nice-hearted little kid. But, and first show I ever went to, Big Charlie Hankins was there. Rest his soul.
Yeah, rest in peace, Charlie.
Absolutely. And he was there, and he played high school football with my brother and used to come over for lunch back when I was like 11 years old.
Wow.
So he's like, hey, kid, what's up? Took me on his shoulders. We danced the whole show. He introduced me to everybody. So I made friends with everybody that day.
That's the thing I always...
That's a good friend to have, Big
absolutely.
Charlie. He was a security dude at CBGB's, for those of you who don't know, like... He was the guy.
Yeah.
You can't miss Big Charlie. Big Charlie held it down.
It's like 3 dudes
He's
into
like
one.
3 dudes in one, and he was a gentleman.
That was the thing about AF. Why I think one of the reasons why people still got a lot of love for them, because Stigma did the same shit with us when we were little. They were the guys that would never look at the young kids as little kids, but they would come up. Stigma would see us hanging around, and he'd come up like, "Yo, what's up?" and come smoke with us and bullshit with us. Instead of acting like he was better than us.
He does that till this day.
Yeah,
I mean, I think he's still that way, man.
And what was funny about the demo shit, the same shit. I used to walk with my old band. I used to walk up and down the fucking line at CB's and at Lamore's selling my demo. And Roger, I remember Roger coming up to me before I knew him, and he asked me, "Hey, what you got there?" And I said, "Whatever, this is my demo, check it out." And I was like, "Yo, $5." And I remember this. Yeah, and then he was like, he went to buy it, and I remember my boy getting mad at me. He was like, "Yo, that's Roger, why don't you give it him?" I was like, "Give it him? Fuck that. I was up all night cutting these fucking demo tape papers, 2 tape recorder." But he bought it, which, you know how that is. People give you shit all the time, and you almost don't gotta buy stuff because you get given shit all the time.
I tell you that, like with Stigma, the way he would treat kids coming in, real courteous, real welcoming. Like I try to do the same thing. I try to carry on that tradition by being nice to kids.
Made an impression on you.
Absolutely made an impression on me. And I've met a lot of kids in the scene that are grown-ups now, adults, that I'm friends with still, because when they were little kids, like for example, like Luke.
Yeah.
Luke, the drummer.
Mama
Luke, the drummer.
Sandwich, the best sandwich.
Wisdom and change.
Yo, you ever eat his sandwiches in the Bronx?
No, I haven't.
Banging.
I haven't been to the Bronx and had a sandwich from him. I met him in the Bronx.
He don't
when
work
he was
there
a kid.
anymore.
He'll tell you the story. I met him as a kid in the Bronx once, but I've seen pictures, man. Those are beautiful, beautiful
I took my
arts
mother
of work.
there on the way upstate. I took my mother there. We stopped. We ate. And he made us all kinds of food. I got pictures of him and my mother and me. My mother loved him. Food was great. I got a ticket outside, and he almost attacked the meter maid, cursing her out and stuff. I was like,
you know what's dope?
Not a kid.
But I met Luke though. I met Luke when he was a little kid. Luke and his friend Tyke. You know Tyke? Luke's boy Tyke.
Okay.
Those two guys, when they were young, they must have been like, I don't know, like 13 or 14.
Yeah.
They would come to Sick of It All shows and stand in the front and just like talk to me and fuck around. We would like joke around. I was like, hey, you guys are all right. I'd like bring them in the back, give them something to drink. I'd get them on the guest list. And they're my friends. Like they're good. You know what I mean? Like, I got guys. They remember that, and I remember that. They're good dudes.
Great band.
Now he's playing with Wisdom and Chains.
Absolutely,
Great
man.
band.
You got to pay it forward and pass it down. That's what you do, man. We're all part of this thing. Everybody works together. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's a symbiont relationship. That means like if you do well, I do well. Symbiotic relationship.
Absolutely.
We all work
I don't know what that shit means, but if it's good, I'm with it.
Yeah, symbiotic.
Probiotics, I'm with it.
Yeah, that too.
Whatever.
It's like a health show.
His health show. Probiotics. No, but look out for Wisdom and Change. They just dropped the record out, right?
Yeah, not too long ago.
Great band.
Yeah, they rocked. They dropped one not too long ago. Yeah, absolutely. No, great band. One of my favorites, man. One of my favorite bands out. You know what I mean? Wisdom and
I'm gonna
Change.
get them on.
You feel the same way. I know you guys love Wisdom and Change.
Great band. Go-to guys too.
Yeah, good people. Solid camp
people.
too, man. Great
Those
people.
dudes solve a lot of my problems.
You got a lot of problems
to solve. Son.
Good mafia
Luckily,
games. That's the
friends
mafia. We're gonna school people on the next episode.
TK solves some right here, Freddie.
We're gonna have a mafia episode.
Play it humble. Go ahead. I know. Behind the scenes, I remember a few times. You don't even know. I even know about things that you think I don't even know about. Thank you, my friend.
Hey, we're family.
That's right. Thank you.
Where you off to tomorrow?
Somewhere in Germany. I got a German show somewhere in Germany. I think Summer Breeze. And then the next day is Ypres in Belgium, and then I fly home.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, 2016, we're concocting some real serious stuff.
Concussing some real things.
Yeah. So, who knows? We may be playing together.
Maybe.
You never know. And some other legendary acts.
That's right. It might be like a.
Yeah, might be something serious, but we'll just leave that. We'll give a little taste and then leave it alone.
And you got to go set up soon.
You
got to go set up soon. But right now, let people know you guys are going to Asia. I saw, right?
Yeah, we're doing a Southeast Asia tour. Includes
real quick, shout it out because we get a lot of hits
Asia,
from over there.
Doing Southeast Asia, doing China, Australia, and we've been over in those spots before. Not fully in China, but Southeast Asia, all those spots. You know what I mean? It's great playing over there, and the fans are great, and all the people are cool. And I can't wait to go over there and see all my friends.
Nice.
Sick of it all.
Yeah.
Look out for them on tour. Craig ahead.
House.
We need to get grimier on this,
Scully.
though. There's so many stories that we just kind of didn't open
Now
up.
we're 5 minutes before you got to go on stage.
We got to do a 2 that's like all
We're
rated.
gonna
follow up.
We're gonna do a
Yeah.
fucking.
You can say what you know. You can say whatever. I mean, this is not
I can say whatever.
PG-13.
I told you.
can
Say
Hoya
whatever the
used to
fuck
come to my house with a giant green army duffel bag filled with fully automatic machine guns.
Yes.
Dozens of them. And I'd hide them shits in my closet
Yes.
for like a weekend. And there'd be cop cars buzzing around with the lights going. And I'd say, what the fuck you doing, kid? You crazy. Your brother's going to kill you. And him and Ed would just laugh.
We're gonna save those stories for
I
the
gotta
next
say that
one.
was fun, though.
No,
I'd be like, yo, what's this? AK-47?
And that wasn't a joke. When we were young, we were crazy, but they always looked out for us. They always gave us a place to go to, and that's why we still cool.
Yeah, we cool.
We cool, no?
Yo, we cool, man.
No, but definitely, we're gonna talk about machine guns on the next one.
All right.
And we're gonna talk about the ones we used to sell, and then we're gonna talk about the ones you own now. Legally.
I don't own any machine guns. But I would have bought, if I knew what I know now, I would have bought all those bags from you. I didn't have the money, but I would try to.
Exactly. We back firearms, but we don't back stupid people.
That's right.
So remember, people kill people. Guns
Don't kill people.
don't kill people. They just look good and feel good.
Second Amendment, brother. Second Amendment.
That's right. Back
Just
it.
stick 'em.
Ain't nobody worth more than me or better than me, right?
Exactly.
We're all equal, so
Exactly.
no designation
Need to
makes
protect
somebody
you and
have a
yours,
right
yeah.
that I can't have. As long as I carry myself with dignity and don't harm innocent people, which I don't do, then there should be no problem with that.
Indeed.
Yo, look, stay
true.
tuned. Yo, hold on, Jay, real quick. We got something to say?
Oh, come on, Jay.
Yeah, nah, he's a stutter.
That's the first time this dude,
Yeah.
first time this dude's ever been quiet in his life.
Exactly. Yeah, no, he don't say shit. But again,
Are we closing it out?
yeah, again, look out for us
German
on
J,
YouTube.
Dutch J, German J.
German J.
Soundman
Jay,
extraordinaire.
no, that's New York right there.
New York.
Kickbox cruncher.
Bremen in the house. No, but I want to, again, follow us on YouTube. Follow us on SoundCloud. We're working on the iTunes right now. Check out Sick of It All on tour.
Pro.
Holla at Craig ahead.
That's a pro.
And when you see Craig, tell him, yo, the Smokin Word. We out.
We out.
Peace.
Good having you, Craig.
Follow us on SoundCloud.com. Follow us on our YouTube channel, The Smokin Word Podcast. Make sure you check out CasaDeRock.com. And we out.